Hello everybody, welcome. I am going to refresh my page so I can see if we are live. There we are. Welcome. Welcome to the myth of aging. Yes, and I'm Greyhairlady, otherwise known as Mel. So welcome to my show. See, welcome. Woo, woo, woo. Welcome. And I'm trying to get over to the place where I can see if we are broadcasting so I can catch up on you guys. And I think this is wonderful. And let me scroll back up and give me 1 second. I don't see it, but because then oh, there we are. Okay, it's on my page. Wonderful. And I have the sound off on my laptop, and I look a little pale, which is kind of cool. It hides everything. And there goes the dog. He's starting to bark because he has a mind of his own. Hello, Bob. Welcome. Welcome to my show. It's great to see you. Oh, no, I am not naked. I am not naked. With me being naked, I just don't understand and can't comprehend that. No, you don't want to see me naked. But today we're going to have an interesting show. And the reason why I started this show, well, I started Greyhairlady quite a while ago, but I wanted to do something different and do some different episodes on different topics. And the reason why I picked aging is because everybody is so worried about aging. I just turned 65 this year, and I'm pretty excited about the fact that, I get medical, and retired, which is great. Either retired or retarded. I really don't know the difference. But I want to talk about what we can do as we age and the myth of who society tells us who we are. And I think it's really important to understand society, because society has a way of putting us in little boxes. It has a way of making us feel as if we're not worthy. All of a sudden, my 20s was a lot of hard work. It was raising my daughter on my own, and I got a divorce at the age of 23. Hello, Kevin. Nice to see you guys. So I didn't think I was very pretty at that age, and I always had difficulties with self-image and the way that I felt about myself. And I've noticed as I've gotten older, I don't have that problem anymore of self-image, because I really think when they say that the life is or what the learning curves are wasted on the youth, it is wasted on the youth, because the things that we learn as going through the age process of learning about who we are and all the mistakes that we've made, it's pretty amazing that we can learn by our experiences. And I finally understand when Red Butler said, frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn. Because you know what? You get to a place where you really don't care. You don't care, to keeping up with the Joneses. You don't care if everything is perfect. In my 30s, I was perfect. Perfect nails, perfect hair, perfect, perfect weight, perfect everything. And I felt that it was something that I had to do. I lived in Beverly Hills at the time, and I used to travel around the country with someone that I was dating, and I always wanted to be perfect. And, you can't live in a perfect world. It just doesn't happen. But as you grow older and you learn about these things, you learn about what is more important in life. And what I try to do is I try to do positive things in life. I think it's really important that we do positive thoughts and positive actions, especially the actions. The actions, following up, I'm looking at to see if anyone besides I'm Not Naked from Bob, seeing if there's anybody else that has written anything in there. Yeah, if you've come in and you're watching the show, please type in a hello, and I would love to see that, because I do have you guys on my computer so I can see. And I know that it's a little bit, I think a few seconds delay or a couple seconds delay. Yes, this is what my my friend Mary, she's made this for me for my travels. So I thought that I would bring it up on the show and drink out of it. But I was doing a little bit of research, okay? And what I was researching, let me see if I can get to it. Okay. I was researching the 50s and the 60s because I think it was really important. Hello, Justin. Hello. Hello, Mama AZ. Hello, everybody. So, in the 50s, in 1950, we started the Korean War, believe it or not, which is pretty amazing. And in 1951, which I find is really relevant to today, is because we did the 22nd Amendment, which established term limits for presidents. I thought that was absolutely amazing. Justin is my I think you're my nephew, my great nephew. Let's see. Douglas MacArthur was fired by President Truman for commenting about using nuclear war on China. And we're still having problems with China. It's pretty amazing. The first transcontinental television broadcast from San Francisco, California, was in 1951. Kevin says, I served in 4 foreign wars. Wow. We've had quite a few of them, which people don't really realize. In 1954, which was 2 years after I was born, the Tournament of Roses in Pasadena was held, the very first one. And my favorite book of all times in 1951 was Catcher in the Rye. I mean, our lives were really rich during that time. Amazing. Okay. In 1954, the Brown versus Board of Education, about giving opportunities to for black and white children can go to school together, which is amazing. The Tonight Show in 54. I'm just going to read off a few of these, and then we're going to get back to more of the conversation. Yeah, 1954 was The Tonight Show with Steve Allen. 1955 was Rosa Parks, okay? That she started the Montgomery bus boycott. These are pretty amazing things because we have a lot of young people that are watching this thinking that they're so cool, you know, and that they've started everything. I mean, when you're looking at everything that we're going through right now and you're looking at what happened in the past, that's why it's so important to remember history. It's so important to remember everything that we have gone through, so we don't repeat mistakes and we don't have more problems. It's very important. Disneyland opened up in 1955. I wasn't living in California, so I didn't get there until I moved there. And I like this one. In 1955, rock and roll music entered the mainstream. I mean, you guys, you know, give me a break. We changed music. Our generation and the people that were in our generation, we changed music. We went from, you know, Bill Haley, you know, and the Comets, to Elvis Presley, to the Beatles, to the Rolling Stones, to frickin' Jimi Hendrix, to Janis Joplin. You know, I mean, these are amazing artists. So, you know, we changed history. And in 1956, Ed Sullivan had Elvis Presley on his show. And I think that these are some of these other things that are really important right now. The Civil Rights Acts of 1957, okay, it was primarily for voting rights. And it became the first civil rights legislation from Congress since the Reconstitution, which is pretty amazing. I mean, all of this stuff begins. We have Sputnik from Russia, Little Rock, Arkansas, school, you know, they allowed, you know, broke down the barriers of school, which is amazing. Kevin says, I still love old time songs. So do I. Love songs. They make me melt. Okay. And which I was really surprised that in 1959, Hawaii and Alaska became the 49th and the 50th state. To me, that is pretty amazing. You know, all that history that we've had, you know, and all of these things, I'm talking to the people that are in my age group when we were little children, what we experienced. You know, we haven't even gotten into the 60s yet. So I'm just refreshing people of what we learned, what our generation did, and then we'll talk about the myths of aging, which I think is really important. In the 1960s, we had the Civil Rights Act of 1960 establishing for voter registration. That is pretty relevant for right now, which I think is amazing. We had, in the 60s, we had John F. Kennedy was nominated, and he won, and he became our president in 1961. So, and in 1961, the Peace Corps. The Peace Corps wasn't even there until our generation started it. And then we had the Bay of Pigs, and we all know about what happened to the Bay of Pigs. Alan Shepard was the first American in space. I mean, these are history. We had a very sad moment, which was the Vietnam War. We lost a lot of beautiful, beautiful, you know, young men and women in the Vietnam War, which is really, really sad. So, and then we have OPEC. OPEC was established in 1961, which I am amazed, you know. We had John Glenn. He orbited around the Earth. He was the first American to do that. We had the Cuban Missile Crisis. And then we had, that was in 1962. And in 1962, this is really important, the Students for Democratic Society. And I was a member of that, and a whole bunch of my friends at Lakeshore High School, because that organization started at Wayne State University, which is pretty amazing. That was Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan. I mean, this is when everything started to kind of like, fester. This is when people started to get their voice, and you know, we were having protesting. Well, I don't think we got to the protesting yet. I don't think that happened quite yet. I think that happened a couple years later down. We had Marilyn Monroe died in '62. Bob Dylan was signed to Columbia Records and released Freewheeling, which became his second studio album, which became a classic, which I think is awesome. We had the March on Washington with Martin Luther King. I Have a Dream speech came then. I'm getting chills because it's just like, this is our history. When we talk about aging, we talk about what we've gone through and the things that we've experienced, all of these things. I mean, we had black and white TV. We got to see the Vietnam War for the very first time you'd see a war on TV. You know, we got to see, which was in 1963, President Kennedy being assassinated in Dallas, which I remember I was in the 6th grade, and the teacher sent us home, and it came over the speakers that President Kennedy was shot. So we were all sent home, and we were, we were crying, and when we got home, we watched everything on the TV, and then that poem, Six White Horses, came out, which goes like, 6 white horses came today to take my daddy far away. And it was written by a man that, was writing about his son. Kevin says, I bet you were a Beatle fan. I love the Beatles. I liked Ringo Starr because he was kind of quirky. I'm kind of quirky. So I loved Ringo Starr. Absolutely loved him. We also had, in 1964, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 outlawing majority form of discrimination against black and women and other nationalities. To me, I think that's pretty freaking amazing because of what we're going through today. It's crazy. Students for Democratic Society led the first anti-war march. There was about 25,000 protesters, and most of them it was a peaceful walk. We had the Immigration Act in 1965. We had the Voting Act in 1965. We had Medicare and Medi-Cal in 1965. And we had the Higher Education Act in 1965. 1965 was a busy year. Awesome, busy year. Malcolm X was assassinated in Harlem in 1965. I mean, these are pretty amazing. The Watts riots in 1965. HUD was established in 1966, and the Department of Transportation was created in 1966. It goes on and on. The National Organization for Women was formed in 1966. So when young people talk about that, they know what they're talking about. That, you know, they think that everything has to change. They got to understand something. Every person that was in the 60s, that was anywhere from 10 years old to however old you wanted to be, we changed history. We changed even the Constitution. We changed the way that we did in the world, which I think is pretty amazing. Muhammad Ali refused to go to war. I remember that one. Jack Ruby died in 1967 and then, now this one is close to my heart because I remember where I was at. Hello, Eric. In 1967, we had the Detroit riots, and it was, they called it the long, hot summer of 1967. I remember how horrible that was when that started. Hello, Jerry Rodriguez. Nice to see you. I remember, you know, Woodward. I remember, you know, 8 Mile and all the places that were being burned, and it was really terrifying. And there was 159 cities nationwide that had rioting during that period of time. It was a long, hot summer, and I hope we don't ever repeat that. And so, and also the Summer of Love, which was a Monterey Pop Festival, was in 1967. Let's see. In 1968, Martin Luther Jr. was assassinated. The Civil Rights Act in 1968 was for fair housing. Then Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated in 1968. And 1968, police crashed with protesters in Chicago. It was when you had the Chicago 7. Hello, Melanie. Nice to see you. So I'm just, Richard Nixon became president, the Vietnam War, the Stonewall riots. I mean, this keeps going on. Neil Armstrong went to the moon, even though people are trying to say that he didn't. And 1969, my parents would not let me go to Woodstock, so I wasn't able to go. And the last thing is Sesame Street premieres on the National Education Network. So what we did is we changed music, and we've lived a really long life, okay? We've lived an amazing life. And the reason why I'm doing this show is because I had my mail carrier. Her and I started talking, and I said that I was 65. And she looked at me, and she goes, you don't look 65. She goes, you look a lot younger. She says, you look like you're really fit. And I thought, oh my God, I am not fit, which is hysterical. Kevin says, what junior high school did you go to in 1967? I went to Kennedy High School, or Kennedy Junior High. I went to Lakeshore High School, and I went to Masonic Heights Elementary School. That's where I went. So that's where I was. And this is all in Michigan. I mean, we witnessed so many different things in life. And so I was talking to her, and she says that it was really fit. Okay, fit for what? I don't know. But it was hysterical. And it made me think, I gotta be frank and honest with you guys. Extremely honest. When I was in Los Angeles, I never had dates. It was almost as if when you get to a certain age, you become an invisible person to the younger generation. They no longer value the information that you have to offer. They don't value the learning things that you have learned in life. And I'm here to tell them that they're wrong. I did not really understand the rest of the world besides Los Angeles. you know, as Los Angeles, everybody's super, super skinny. Everybody's young. Everybody's beautiful. I mean, everybody is, you know, movie star quality. And the ones that aren't become the invisible people. You could walk into a room and nobody even notice you. Of course, I walk into a room and I'm very, you know, flamboyant in some ways and outgoing. And I say hello to strange people all the time. My daughter says, Mom, you can't do that. But I do. I do that all the time. I like being bigger than life. And it's not because I want the attention. It's because I love people. I love people so much. Okay, one of the myths is you can't do the things that you used to do. And I find that wrong. Hello, Sandy Pants. I find that wrong. I can go out and dance all night long and wear the young people out. I can walk for miles and enjoy, you know, being out in the country. I went to the drugstore the other day and I was buying some stuff. I rode my bike, and this woman that was at the cash register, because I'm a blabbermouth. I guess it's because I'm alone so much, so when I get out in public, I blabber a lot. And I can blabber on my show too, which you guys have noticed that. But this woman that was working the cash register, and I told her that I was driving around the country in an RV. And she goes, oh, I could never do that. I says, why? She goes, oh, I just couldn't. I says, but why not? She goes, well, I'm old. I says, I'm probably older than you. I says, of course you can do that. You can do anything that you want to do at 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I mean, when you see videos of people that are 90 years old, that there's one woman that does all these, gymnast sort of stuff, it's pretty amazing. Or the men and women that are in their 80s and 90s that are riding bicycles for 20 or 30 miles. It is a state of mind. Hello, Leah. I keep telling people, stop saying you're getting old. Stop saying you're old. You're only as old as what you think, what you claim verbally, and what you do by actions. I think you're old if you're unwilling to change, if you're unwilling to try new things, if you're angry at the world, if you're angry at everybody. But when you find that peace inside of yourself and know that you can do things that you used to do even when you were younger, I'm more fit and healthier today than I was when I was in my late 40s or 50s. Because I didn't go out and do all the things that I'm doing now. I didn't challenge myself. That is the key. The key is to challenge. Challenge yourself to see what you can and cannot do. You know, I'm here in Michigan. I don't have a car, so I wasn't able to get around a lot. I had to rely on people to come and pick me up and take me to, like, the grocery store. And my friend, my friend who is anonymous, sent me a bicycle, a 3-wheel bicycle that I wanted so badly I was saving up for. And I've been taking it to the grocery store and taking it all over the place. Leah says, hello, gorgeous. Okay, let's see. I got to roll this up so I can see what she says. I went a little fast. Hello, gorgeous. Have to go again. Can't keep you down. Yeah, can't keep me down, Many tips are up. You get it? So stand tall and celebrate new myths. Yeah. One of the myths I'd like to talk about is, ready? When you're old, you don't want to have sex anymore. Oh, the S word, the S-E-X word for people that are old. Oh my God, old people don't have sex. No, they don't. Shame, shame, shame. They don't have sex. We knit all day. We play bingo all day. We eat bonbons all day. Right. We have sex. We have lots of it. We have lots of sex. In fact, there's been a study in elderly homes that are the group homes, that they're having sex all over the place, believe it or not. And they're not even using condoms. That's what's crazy, and that's how they found this out. They found out that they were having lots of sex, not using condoms, and spreading little bugs or whatever, little things all over the place with each other, like gonorrhea and so forth and so on and so forth. So we have sex. I gotta tell you something. When I was in Quartzsite, Arizona, when I first got there, I went to this event called RTR, and I'm making this medicine wheel, and I'm grubby looking. I'm wearing a baseball hat, and I'm not perfect, which is great because you don't have to be perfect anymore in this world. And when you get older, you don't have to be perfect. You just be you. You be willing to go out and express yourself and to do crazy fun things. And the myth is that you're supposed to just sit home, watch TV, and eat bonbons and do nothing and disappear. No. We are not disappearing. We are out in full force. We really are. So this van pulls up because there's a lot of vans there that people travel around the country in vans. And I heard a fire alarm in the cargo in this person's van. And, and I heard a voice go, "It's okay, I just burned my eggs." And I went, okay. So I'm sitting there working on this, this medicine wheel, and oh my God, I looked up. And you ever remember in the movies when you're watching a movie, there's a beautiful woman walking by, and all the guys stop and stare, the wind blows through their hair and it goes into slow motion? That happened to me. He was beautiful. He was about 6'5", muscles, perfect specimen of a human being. The biggest lips, the biggest brown eyes. He had to be in his, he was in his middle 30s. And the first thought that went through my head was, oh my God, this guy is beautiful. I mean, I'll tell you something. I got horny right then and there. I can't lie to you, because I'm getting rid of the myth that we don't get horny, we don't have sex, and we don't want to do any of these things, because we do. We definitely do. So he comes over and he's having this little tray, and he says, "Would you like some breakfast?" So I went, okay, because I didn't eat. I thought it was great. So it turned out that he was attracted to me. I think he wanted a one-night stand. I really think that he wanted, this one-night stand with this crazy lady, which was kind of interesting. And I said no. Really? Scott's honor. Scott, or three fingers. Scott's honor. I said no. And I said no because I just started out on my trip. And I didn't want to screw my way all over the country. And he was beautiful. And he was, he gave me tingles. He was awesome. Absolutely awesome. I like those tall, dark-headed men with the big brown eyes and the big lips. And, he was just like, absolutely beautiful. But we do have sex. I know women that are in their 50s, 60s, and even 70s that will talk to me and say, I've got to have some sex. And men, you guys are always horny. You guys are always horny. And you know what? Yes, men can get it up when they're older. So that's a big myth that they can't. They can. And trust me, I know. Yeah, someone's giving me a cheer, like, woohoo. Oh, there. Hello, Laura Reset. Hello, how are you? Welcome. So we do have sex. We have lots of sex. Okay? Now, in Los Angeles, a lot of people wouldn't hire me because of my age. Especially in the tech industry, because I am a streaming video ninja, wacky ninja, and I know a lot. But once I walk in and they see me, and people have said to me, well, if you colored your hair blonde, you would look younger and people would think you are younger. And I look at them and I say, what? Are you stupid? Why would I do that? I wouldn't do that because the fact is, I like who I am. My generation started a lot of things. We started rock and roll. We started Velcro on our shoes. You know, we started elastic waistbands on our, you know, when people go, oh, I'm only going to wear jeans and are only going to buckle up. And then when you get a little bit older, you get a little bit fuller. And then, you know, you start to wear the stretchy pants. You know what? I earned my rights to wear those stretchy pants. We have done our job. We have worked hard, which is pretty amazing. And everyone says, well, you know, you're going to die someday. That's a big myth. You know why? Yes, we are going to die, but even young people die. You know, everybody dies. But it's what you do with your life today that brings you on a road of success in your life. And there's many different ways of having success. Success isn't just successful in business. It's successful in your life and feeling good about who you are, no matter how old you are. I'm 65 years old, and I am having a blast. I made a choice to give everything up in Los Angeles, get in an RV, and go on a frickin' adventure. Because I deserve it. I deserve to have fun. And there was a few other men that were really attracted to me on my trip too, which was just, it was like one after another. I says, I should have left Los Angeles a lot earlier. But it's a myth that we don't have sex. It says, I gotta move this thing off, excuse me, there we go. Living your life to the fullest is the best revenge for aging. Saying yes instead of no. Learning new things. They go, well, you can't learn new things. Who can't learn new things? Okay. I learned more from the age of 45 or 50 to 65 than I did my whole entire life. I learned how to edit audio. I learned how to edit video. I learned how to build websites. I learned how to record and edit, radio shows, TV shows. I ran a network for 15 years. We did 7 live TV shows on the net a week. So don't tell an old person that they can't learn. We're very capable of it. I'm a computer geek. I know everything there is about, getting online and creating things and photographs and editing my photographs. So we can learn new things. And that's a myth that we can't. And let's talk about, they say you don't remember things. Well, you know what? There's a reason why we don't remember things is because we have to change our eating habits. We have to use coconut oil. We have to eat better for our mind. Carbohydrates, it starves our brain. I tell people that I want to live till I'm 130. And they look at me as if I'm freaking nuts. But I really think that if you live to be 130, that they will be able to change everything with technology, and they're going to be able to pull my whole body up and stretch it up and pull all this up like this, and they're going to make, I can look better at 130 than I did at 30. Laura Bissett said, no sex when you are old is not true. I want sex right now. Yeah, Laura was one of my best friends in high school. Laura and I had 2 matching blue sweaters in high school. We used to wear them. And she was beautiful then, and she's beautiful now. And yeah, we're horny all the time. We do think, I'll tell you something, when there's a hot guy walking down the street, I don't care how old you are. Okay, I hate to say this, but I like them young because they smell good. Yep, sorry. I like them young and tall and dark complected, or not dark complected, dark hair. Like little, little Italian boys, little Sicilian boys, little, I like them, I like them a lot. I think it's really important. I keep an open mind to new things in life, too. That's what they say. When you're old, you can't learn new things, and you're set in your ways. Well, I'll tell you something. If I was set in my ways, I wouldn't be traveling around the country in an RV. I wouldn't be living half time in Michigan, you know, in the house. I wouldn't be doing the things that I'm doing. What we do is when we're old is that if we get out there and we start doing things and we start going places and we start learning new experiences, that triggers our mind, that triggers our creativity, and there's nothing like it. Nothing. It's one fucking amazing journey. Yeah, I do swear like a truck driver. Don't get me mad, because when I get mad, you know. But, you know, we have a lot to look back at our past, you know, from you know, our music, from the way that we dressed. I mean, we were hippies in my generation. All of us wore bell bottoms and, you know, American flag purses and fringe jackets and, you know, crazy little hats. And we were all hippies, and we wanted to be hippie and live on a, you know, in a commune, which I never got to. I've gotten close, but never got to. But, you know, I learned a very valuable lesson. My mother, who died at the age of 58, was a beautiful woman, and she was very heavy set, and she didn't think that she was a beautiful woman. And I went to my grandmother's funeral, my grandma Lupo's funeral, and Italian, you know, she, hey, mangia, you're too skinny, you know. So I went to, let me see if it's rolling up, because it's not rolling up there. Oh, Frank Prezzato, hello, nice to see you. Okay, there are people that I did not see. I am so sorry, because I really am not paying attention to the chat room. So I went to see my grandma Lupo, you know, funeral. And everybody came up to me and says, oh my God, you're just as beautiful as your mother, da da da. I went back to St. Clair Shores and I said that to her. I said, you know, everybody said how beautiful you were. And she started crying. And she said, how come no one ever told me this when I was young? So the thing is that, you know what? If I think you're beautiful, I don't care if you're young or old, I'm going to tell you. Because I think it's really important. I think it's important to understand that. My mother spent 10 years of her life before she died in bed. She suffered from depression. She didn't want to get old. In fact, she kept saying that she was going to build a garage. Because if she built the garage, she was going to drive her car in the garage and she was going to shut the door and turn the car on. So my parents never had a garage. And then they had one built. And I got really upset with her. I go, why did you build a garage? Because I knew what she said she was going to do. But she got a little too sick and she didn't achieve her goal. But that taught me a lot. Never give up. Never claim that you're old. Old is just other people's opinion. It has nothing to do with us. Nothing. Nothing's going to stop me in my world. Nothing. You know, the only thing that would stop me would be death. And my daughter's been very instrumental in helping me with the aging process. Because, you know, she'll say things like, well, you can't go work there because you can't start at the lower level because people will look down at you. And I look at her and go, well, why? It used to piss me off. But I understand it now. Because it's reality. Younger people discredit older people. If you don't make a tremendous amount of money, more money than a younger person, they look down at you as if you have never accomplished anything in your life. And I do this. You got to be kidding me. Accomplish what? Raised a child on my own. I ran businesses. I ran a company that I used to have actors, as I was their manager, 120 actors. And I was capable of doing this. And as I've grown older, I've realized that I can do more. With my daughter, you know, telling me things like, you can do it, Mom. You know, you can do this. Which is pretty amazing because I really didn't. I'm going to roll this down and see if there's anything else. Oh, I'm trying to see if there's any other comments that I miss. Hello, Frank. Hello. So, the only thing that can stop you is if you don't believe in yourself. If you believe that you are old, you are old. If you believe you can't do something, then you can't do it. But if you take and reach by your bootstrings and walk through the muck and put the work into it, absolutely put the work into it, you can do it. Baby boomers are what we are. Baby boomers have a huge buying power. They run a lot of companies, a lot of wealthy baby boomers, and some not so wealthy baby boomers. I was never a wealthy person. You know, I learned the hard way. I learned by making mistakes, and I think that's what we have over the younger people. Nothing was given to us. Nothing at all, which I think is pretty amazing. We had to work hard for everything that we have. And, you know, Medicare, the myth is, well, you know, you shouldn't be getting it. Hey, we earned it. We earned it. We paid our taxes. We did our work. We did the things that we were supposed to be doing. Raising my daughter was probably the most amazing experiences that I've ever experienced in my entire life. She made me, because I was responsible for her, to stand up and take responsibility for my actions in life. I couldn't sit and feel sorry for myself. Even when I lost my studio, my daughter would not allow me to feel sorry for myself. You know, try new things, you know, see what you can accomplish. You know, our generation became hippies and we wanted to change the world, and we did. Did we change the world for the betterment? I don't know. I don't have an idea. I don't really know. You know, when we were little kids, we played in the dirt. We stayed out until 11 o'clock at night, or sometimes midnight, you know, playing around. Some of the neighbors in the 50s built bomb shelters. You know, we had a childhood. We were outside playing all the time. We were all very fit and thin, and, you know, because we were always outside, always playing with the other children. Children these days don't have that. You know, the younger generation, you know, they didn't play hopscotch and take blocks and build them, you know, out in the middle of the boulevard and play with the kids. You know, we had, we did crazy things like, you know, wearing bell bottoms. We did, we had go-go boots. You know, I wore a mini coat. You know, in the late 50s and early 60s, you had Lenny Bruce, who was a crazy, amazing comedian. He wasn't censored. He could say anything that he wanted to. He was arrested for the right to be able to say what he wanted to have that freedom of speech. We have lost our freedom of speech. We don't have the freedom of speech like we had. We are so politically correct that we are incorrect. To me, that's how I feel. And I think our older generation understands that. The younger generation doesn't quite get it yet. When you lose that right to say what you think, you know, that's when you can be controlled by any government or anybody. So we protested, you know, for the freedom of speech. We had so many protests against the Vietnam War, which was really, in hindsight, I think that was one of the most cruelest things that we have ever done. To do what we did to our Army vets that came back from the Vietnam War, what we did to them was horrible. When I meet someone that served in Vietnam, I go up to them and I apologize. And it may sound a little crazy, but I do, because I take that responsible. I'm going to refresh this page because I want to be able to see if the chat has moved, if there's any questions that I have. I mean, there it is. I guess I guess you guys are watching this and going, what is she talking about? I'm talking about aging. I'm talking about aging, and that it is a myth that we can't do anything, and that we just have to lay down and let the younger generation take over and just, make us feel bad for who we are. We've worked hard. We've come from a life of black and white TV, from black and white movies. Well, that was a little bit later, I think it was I don't know when the color was added to it. If anybody in the chat room knows, that would be absolutely, if you could write that in. To my generation, I say get out and dance in the rain. Go out and do things that you didn't think that you could do anymore. Build that confidence back up. Get out there and enjoy your life. Enjoy it. Learn how to stay in that moment. Don't worry about your past. Don't worry about your future. Just stay in the moment and enjoy your life. Everything that has gotten us to this place today is what we have learned by our experience. The myth that older people are dumb. We are not dumb. We are some of the brightest minds, in the world. We have created so much technology. We have created so much in the short time that we have lived our life. 65 years is no longer old. We are the new 40s, and that's how I feel. When I get dressed up and I go out and I sing a hell of a song of karaoke, when I go out and sing, with other people like we do here in St. Clair Shores, we meet with, Jan Prezzato and Debbie Caputo and Sharon and all these other people. To me, that is refreshing. We get to hang out with people that we went to high school with. And it's so, I got to tell you guys, it makes me feel so young. Hanging out with people my age, having fun, laughing, talking about where we've been, talking about the things that we did, seeing that we still look pretty hot for our ages. We are hot people. We are hot, sexual, horny, creative, amazing people. To me, I'm pretty proud. I am pretty proud of my generation. Like I said, we changed history. Old is not a death sentence. It's because when you take all the experiences that we have learned throughout our life and combine them together, and it gives us a clear picture of what we want to do for the rest of our life. It gives us that option. The myth that we're just supposed to curl up on a couch and do nothing, retire and forget about life. I can't do that. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to be with people who treat old people like they're invisible. We are not invisible people. We have so much knowledge that we have to offer to the younger generation. We have many different younger generations. We've got the kids that are just getting out of high school now. We got the college students. We got the 20-year-olds. We got the 30 years old, and we got the 40-year-olds, and then the 50-year-olds that we're going through. We have a lot to offer you all. We have history. We changed laws. When I looked at that list, the list that I read through on the first part of the show, I didn't even list all of them. I wasn't aware of how much we changed our government, the government programs, how much we changed music, how much we changed using our voice if we disagreed with something that the government or someone did, how we handled things. The marijuana law. We were the first to, not the first, but because they used to do that in the 50s. They've done marijuana since the beginning of time because it was like, marijuana doesn't do anything for me. What happens is I go, and I go to sleep. It does nothing for me. But we changed laws. We change the way that we do things. And everyone that's in Congress and the Senate, you know, and the cabinet, they're our generation. We know better. They're our generation that made the changes. And that is an amazing, amazing thought. That we changed so much. That this small group of people in one generation altered the course of the world. So the myth that we don't know anything, I boo-hoo that. We know a lot. The myth that we don't understand. We burned our bras. We got abortion laws in. Whether you agree with abortions or you don't, that's your prerogative. You know, we changed things. And I can't say we changed them for the better. I don't know. I remember the 50s. The 50s was a calm. 50 was, you know, like, you know, everyone came back from World War II, and my father bought the house in 1954. You know, I was born in 1952, and when I was 2 years old, we moved in here. We were the first ones to live here. This is a part of our past. This is who we are. Those eager men and women that came back from World War II were so eager to get on with their life because of the atrocities that they have seen. Wars. We saw the Korean War. We saw the heartbreak of the Vietnam War that makes me cry. So many of our generation was lost. And what we did to them afterwards was horrible. Whew. And then we've had the Gulf War, the war in Iraq, Afghanistan, the war that has taken so many lives. I don't protest against wars anymore because I will never, ever disrespect the young men and women that give up their lives for our freedom. Freedom is important. They have given their life. They were doing their job. That's something that I learned, and the disrespect of people to people that have, you know, fought in the war. I want to shake them and, you know, say, shame on you. So the myths of aging, that we're old and we're supposed to curl up and do nothing, that we can't do anything, that we're not bright enough, that we're not smart enough, that we're not physically able to do things like young people, is horse shit. I look at the positive things that we did. Oh my God. In high school, I was the first one to wear a midi coat. In fact, my friend Jan Prezzato reminded me of the first time she saw me. I was in the front of the school. Inside, we had these cement benches, and I wore a midi coat to school, and I had this big floppy hat that was like stretchy because it was cold, and I had this long, you know, it was wintertime, this long scarf, you know, that I would wrap around myself when it got cold because I would have to walk 1.5 miles home to school. Yes, I walked 1.5 miles home to school. And I'm standing on top of these benches, and I'm dancing, you know, in the courtyard. You know, it's all glassed in. And she says that was the first time she ever saw me. To me, that was amazing that she had that memory stored inside of her amazing mind of what we did and when she saw me. I love my age. I love the woman that I have become. I have so many more wonderful years that I can add to this world, and that's how I feel. And that's the myth that people don't understand. They think because you're old that you can't add to society anymore. I use my creativity and my mind and my wacky sense of humor and my unfiltered voice to continue doing things that can help change this world. One of the reasons I'm driving my RV is to bring more peace and love to the world, because I believe in it. We were the generation of peace and love. We would dance in our tie-dyed shirts and our little, hippies, skirts and bell bottoms, and wear our, our afro hair, because my hair is really frizzy and really full and like an afro, and I stretch it dry, I went back to my roots about love and peace, because we were not wrong. Material things, money isn't going to buy us happiness, but kindness and consideration toward others will, and consideration and kindness to ourselves. And that's what I think, that people don't think that older people are kind, and we are. On my journey of traveling across the country 3 times since I've gotten my RV, the kindness of others of all different age groups has been an enlightening experience. There is so much to live for, so much to do that can bring the world to a better place. That's why I try not to make negative comments, on Facebook. That's all it is negativity. And I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to put it out there. Positive, positive, positive. It's right if you can't. Something we're taught as children. If you can't say something nice about someone, then don't say it. And I believe that. People have gotten mad at me because I've told them you can't function from a place of hate. And they go, I don't hate. Then why are you so angry? I'm looking forward to my years to come, because I am changing every single day. Our lives are in constant motion. Doesn't matter how old you are. What matters is what you do. Matters what you say. Matters what you do followed by action. That's what matters. It's an amazing experience. Life is amazing. Doesn't matter how young you are or how old you are. We all have something in common, and that's that we're human. The human process is magical. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. It's been wonderful sharing. I can't see the chat again. I don't even know it's moving. But for all the people that have watched it in the chat room, that have followed me in and have joined me, I want to thank you so much. And all the people that watch the recorded show after, watch it till the end and enjoy it. Because you know what? It doesn't matter if you're young or old. We all matter. We matter big time. To the young people, reach out to the older people. Show them love and kindness, and most of all, respect. Because we worked hard to get here. We did so many changes in our small history that has changed it for you. Respect us, and we will respect you. I love you guys. Walk in peace, love, and joy. And may you manifest such an incredible life for yourself. Remember, if you don't do it right the first time, you can always redo it. Keep trying. Never give up. age is just a number is not a statement of who you are. God bless you all. Thank you. There I go.